Right, welcome to this free ghost stories on this special on James Higgins Open World. Just 1 second and we'll get to an introduction first. Just 1 second.
For centuries in Britain there was a tradition, now largely forgotten, of whiling away the long Christmas nights by huddling around the hearth and telling ghost stories. Many ancient pagan festivals of winter, such as Yule, feature death and the supernatural, and these too were times of the year where families and communities would come together and tell stories. This endured and evolved over the centuries, and in the 17th century, Robert Burton listed merry tales of witches, fairies and goblins as a popular Christmas pastime. But the yarns weren't always jolly, and the tradition of the wizened old crone frightening children with scary stories is an ancient and widespread one. The Barabbas of Elizabethan playwright Christopher Marlowe speaks of old women telling winter tales of spirits and ghosts that glide by night. But it was Charles Dickens, with his famous 1843 ghost story, A Christmas Carol, as well as M.R. James, who really helped to cement the popular association between the supernatural and Christmas.
And they certainly did. And just 1 second and we'll get to story one here on James Higgins Open World and this special of free ghost stories, Christmas ghost stories, so stay tuned. Christmas story one. Just 1 second.
Ghostly Christmas Caress. It was Christmas time of 1995 or 96 at my aunt's house on a reservation in North Dakota. Some of my family was in the living room watching television, the kids were playing in the rooms or sleeping, and my uncle, aunt, and I were sitting at the table putting a puzzle together. My cousin, who worked at a casino, was due home around midnight or 1 a.m. That night, as she pulled up and was walking toward the house, she looked in the window and saw me sitting at the table, my uncle sitting across from me. She also saw someone standing to the left of me and someone standing in the corner. She continued to walk in the house thinking nothing of it. When she got inside, she said her hellos, put her stuff away and came to join us at the table.
1 second.
As we were sitting there talking, she looked at me and asked who was standing next to me a few minutes ago and who was in the corner. I told her no one and she said, "Yeah, there was someone standing next to you. It looked like your mom and she was playing with your hair." I have long hair, which I used to wear down all the time. She said this person was running her hand on my hair as a mother does to a child. It kind of freaked me out, as I was probably only 12 or 13 at the time. My cousin swears up and down that someone was standing over me, rubbing my head and watching me put the puzzle together with my aunt and uncle, and that there was another person standing behind that person. We got around to thinking the second person was probably her mom, who'd passed away on her birthday a week before Christmas back in 1992, she'd seen. In my family we consider our aunts and uncles to be just like our moms and dads. After thinking that it could have been her, it didn't scare me so much. Around Christmas, something strange almost always happens. We just think it's my mom visiting us.
Oh, what a story, eh? Well, let's hope it wasn't, Mum. Just 1 second and we'll get to story two. Right, this is story two. Spooked servants, Sandringham House. Just 1 second. Just 1 second.
The Royals' famous Norfolk bolt hole was once described as the most comfortable house in England, but at Christmas time every year ghosts are supposed to lurk about the corridors of the vast Victorian residence. This is said to begin at Christmas Eve and last for a few weeks, and in the 20th century included tales of classic poltergeist activity in the servants' areas of the house, mysterious footsteps, self-closing doors, lights turning themselves on and off repeatedly. There was also said to be heavy breathing heard from empty rooms in service corridors, and Christmas cards found to have moved unaccountably. At one point servants were refusing to enter certain rooms alone, and a sinister phantom sack that breathed was said to have been by one footman. Both King George V and King George VI died at Sandringham.
Just 1 second. Well, that was a good second story, wasn't it? Two spoke servants, Sandringham House. Well, one more story to go, and that's this special. 3 ghost stories of Christmas. Done and dusted. I hope you really enjoyed it. So one more story to go, so stay tuned. You'll be here in a second. Won't be long. Just stay tuned to this channel, James Higgins Open World, and this is Christmas, 3 Christmas ghost stories. Get in there. Well, here we are. Mum's Christmas hike. Madingley Hall. Well, just 1 second and we'll get to it. Here we go.
3. Mum's Christmas Hike, Madingley Hall. The Tudor Madingley Hall, near Cambridge, is now a conference centre, but was once the centre of a vast estate owned by the prominent Hind family. Sir Francis Hind was an MP during Elizabeth I's reign. When expanding the hall, he knocked down a church in the nearby village of Histon to provide building materials. This was nearly 40 years after the death of his mother, Lady Ursula, who according to legend turned in her grave at the destruction of the church, and has been reputed to haunt the hall ever since, her ghost stalking the corridors at night and wringing her hands in anguish. Every Christmas Eve the ghost of Lady Ursula is said to walk between the hall and the church, or what's left of it, in Histon, although nowadays she'd have to cross a motorway to get there.
Well, what a story, eh? Hope you enjoyed this 3 Christmas ghost stories here on my channel, James Higgins Open World. And thanks for listening. So thank you very much, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.